The Nikki Glaser Podcast. The Nikki Glaser Podcast.
Here's Nikki. Hello, here I am. Welcome to the show. It's the Nikki Glaser Podcast. It's Tuesday. It is Tuesday. We're recording this Tuesday. I just have my days mixed up. I am here in Los Angeles, California, at my really pretty nice hotel corner suite. I'm being put up by the iHeart Radio Awards that I got to do last night, and they got me a nice hotel, and it was just such a joy to do. And we'll get into that in just a second. I want to just go around and introduce everyone who's here. Noah is in Arizona. You guys know that. It's also a city there, and Anya is in Cupertino.
Yes, Bay Area, Silicon Valley.
Hell yeah, baby! You're where. Like, the interesting thing about where you are, I always find, is that you are on the... Will you describe it, Anya?
If you look at your iPhone, the logo of the map is exactly where I am.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Isn't that cool?
Because that's where Apple is?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
She's exactly on that, like... Wait, is it almost exactly that? That's a little exit, though, right? That's like an exit ramp on the icon.
I think that the icon used to have like 280 on it, maybe.
It'd be weird if it was your parents' address. It's like a Google map image.
It's
of your
also a
parents' house.
cool name for a city, Cupertino.
It's such a cute name.
I'd want to write that down if I had an envelope.
Better than Zizix.
Yeah, no, Zizix is
Yeah.
bad.
And the guy who taught us about Zizix and taught us about Noah, Arizona, and just likes the name Cupertino, I'm starting to notice a trend, is my good friend and past podcast co-host of the Not Safe podcast. If you want to go back and listen to those, they are still available. It's Brian Frange, everyone.
Isn't that horrifying?
Oh,
that
God,
things are still available?
Yes,
I mean,
dude.
Can we just take this shit down by now?
Dude, remember on the podcast when Luigi came?
Oh my God, yes. Well, thanks for bringing that up. I blocked that out of my memory.
Luigi during one episode.
You were petting him.
It was me and Dan St. Germain and you. I used to do it as a bit in my act because it was at our office at Not Safe. It was a show I had on Comedy Central. Brian worked in our digital department. Dan was one of our writers, Dan St. Germain. And we had a podcast that Comedy Central gave us to like promote the show on a different platform, you know? So we would just go into Brian's office and do this podcast. It was like my favorite part of the day. And one time Luigi was always in the office and he was on my lap. I had just gotten him like a couple months before. And he has a big penis sheath,
Especially
I found out.
for a dog that size.
Yeah. He had a big
impressive.
penis and the sheath, like the slit that it's supposed to go in, the lipstick goes in, it would be too big. And so the penis would hang out a lot.
Yes.
It doesn't anymore, but for some reason he was very horny back then. And it was always out. So one time during the show, Dan was making a big deal, or you were making a big deal of like, oh God, his lipstick's out. And I was just like, chill out. So to get it back in, I wanted to scare it back in.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought
So
you
I
were just
took
rubbing the
his
belly.
paw. No, I took his paw to like, because I didn't want to like touch around that area, but I thought if you poked around the area, it would get scared and go back in.
Yes.
So I took his paw and like tapped around his penis and stuff came out.
Oh my God.
I jerked my own dog off with his own
Classic.
and it was all over my tits. That used to be my end of the bit. Yeah, Luigi came. Which people have to do to breed dogs and stuff. They got or to breed horses.
I
and
thought
stuff.
you were talking about sticking the finger in the butt.
Oh, that's to get a dog off you if it's attacking you?
Well, yeah.
Yeah?
That's not what I was talking about,
Oh,
but yes, that's
what do you
true.
mean?
That's to express its glands.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta, and now they're saying that that's not good anymore.
To
And,
do?
You know,
Because
they
it's
just change everything every couple of years so you spend more.
Now you're Me Tooing your dog.
Yeah, now
Back
it's
before 2018, we could just stick our finger up our dog's ass. Anytime
that's
we
when
wanted.
things were great.
Yeah.
MAGA.
Meow too.
Yeah.
Wait, no. The anal gland thing is a real thing on small dogs. They get clogged up. Does your dog have anal gland issues?
No, we never expressed his glands, but I mean, he shakes a lot.
Well, that's if they poop. If they have two, if their poops are too liquidy, because poops get their glands going. So when poop comes out and it's hard, it expresses it for them. So if your dog has too much runny poop, its glands get like filled up, and that's when you have to go express them.
Oh God.
One time, my dog expressed all over, because sometimes they do it out of fear and they shoot it out like a skunk.
Oh.
All over John Early.
Oh my God.
At a show. I had brought Luigi to a show and John saw me and was like, hi. And he was like, look at the puppy. And Luigi just was freaked out and expressed all. And we didn't know what happened at first. You just kind of
What
go like.
color was it?
It's clear. Like it's invisible. But
What
then
about
John
the
Early is like,
smell?
oh. And I'm like, oh my God, why are you
like
like
a
wet?
fish.
We were so confused. What was that?
Why are you wet?
The smell isn't it's like
It's
a rotten fish.
The worst smell ever.
Yeah.
John Early is in the bathroom. We kind of don't know what happened, but I'm kind of starting to smell something. But it got all over John, so it's barely like I can not even smell it in the room. But I'm like, oh my God, I think Luigi. And then I go, John, like through the door, and he's like, yes. He is freaking out because he has to perform. It was at Hot Soup, that show, Kurt Braunohler's show. And it was upstairs in this like green room area. And he's in the bathroom, ruined his sweater. Like it was on a sweater. And he got all this fishy smell. It felt so, I mean, I'm sure he still talks about it.
doesn't
to
come
this day.
off.
It's such a- no, it does not. It's that sweater was done. And I told him, I was like, I'll pay you for it. And he was very sweet. I think I offered. I can't imagine I didn't, but I don't think he let me. Or I just didn't offer.
He's a funny guy. I'm sure his response would have been funny if he didn't.
It was
freak-
too traumatizing.
Too
to be
traumatizing
funny.
to be
I'm sure
covered in
now
goo.
It would be funny.
Oh, I texted you saying I was going to be 10 minutes late, and
Yeah.
then you responded all good, but you left off the D, so it said all goo.
I know. I
And
didn't
that-
feel like sending the other D.
That made me laugh.
All goo.
All goo is funny.
It's all goo, man.
Yeah.
We have new words for coming. Express, goo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Matt expressed all over my face.
Oh my God, that's so funny to say that your boyfriend expressed.
And now his poops are
Babe,
better.
just express yourself.
Imagine if cum smelled as bad as a dog's express gland.
As bad as it looks.
Oh, yeah.
Thank God
Well,
cum doesn't really have a
sometimes-
smell. What?
Sometimes I mean, I hope this has happened to other people, but if a guy like comes in you and you leave it there for a little bit, it does start to smell like fish. And it's because of
Nope,
the
just you,
bacteria.
Noah.
That's yep. Sorry, Noah. No one can relate. That's probably
Yes.
just your pussy. No,
She's right.
Yeah,
But how
sure,
do you get
can-
it out?
How do you get it out? What do you mean?
I've always been curious about that. How
I think
do
it
you
just
get
drips
it
out. Like when you pee,
out? Oh, okay.
right? Don't you think? I can only
Yeah,
speak
but
to
no one
anal
was
sex, how that
saying-
comes out, and it's exactly how you would think the other way. That one will stay in ya. I'm sorry, everyone. But it's just true.
You got to pee
Oh, really?
after sex, men and women.
Oh, you must pee.
People think it's just women, but men need to pee too.
Sure.
It's pee too.
It's a P2 movement.
Yes.
It's
Why?
well, men do not get UTIs as much as
No,
women.
no,
So
no,
it's more
no.
imperative for women to do so.
That's 100%. It's like you have to pee like every single time or else you'll instantly get a UTI. It's
Instantly.
crazy.
It
It's
is-
crazy. It's a
you're-
horrible thing to have
You're
happen.
playing with fire in your pants because
Yes.
it really is. It's no one tells women that should be a part of sex education.
No one tells women anything.
That's a good
I
point.
Yeah.
feel like sex ed is
Parallel parking.
It's all
we don't
about
wanna
watch
do
this
that.
video of a baby being born, and that's all you need to know.
And so few people need to. First of all, you don't need to know that. You're going to have doctors who can cover that.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
Also, we get mixed messages constantly. Can I say a veneer horror story that I've
Yeah.
had?
Okay.
So
Anya's
my
getting veneers, by the way.
fucking-
She is now in the month before where she has like fake ones because
Yes.
they're molding the ones that are going to be put in April 5th.
Right. When you have veneers,
Yes,
you can't
April
bite
4th.
into an apple anymore.
I know.
The Apple's.
We
Yes.
know.
Oh,
Then
and
also
Anya
you just
knows a
can't
lot.
use your teeth. You can't use your teeth at all anymore, and they hurt constantly. It's great.
Anya really regrets getting veneers, but she hasn't gotten the
Yeah.
final ones yet, and I think she's going to change her tune once she gets those. But right
they're
now she
gonna
has
look
George
great.
Washington, like very
Yeah.
porous teeth that accept stains.
I
and she doesn't
figured
like
out
them.
how to get around that because they have
What?
been looking like wooden teeth, and every night I just look in the mirror and I'm like, "You have fucking wooden teeth, dude. What is happening?" Because they create these ridges in them to make them look natural, but then you drink a cup of tea and it looks like wood. But the other day I was like, "Fuck it, I'm using baking soda directly on these teeth because they're not my teeth. I can't ruin them." And it worked immediately, and they were like bright white, like not wooden anymore.
Oh, good.
But the dentist told me a month ago, do not be afraid to brush these things. You got to brush your gums. Do not be timid at all. Brush, 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 because people are always timid, and then it causes bleeding if you're too timid around your gums. And if we install the permanent ones while your gums are bleeding, they will turn them pink. So definitely brush your gums vigorously. I was like, okay, I've been brushing my teeth like 4 times a day after I eat, and I'm in constant pain. And finally, yesterday, it just starts gushing blood and like doesn't stop. And I'm like, I'm done with this shit. So I call my dentist. She finally calls me back today. We're talking, and I'm like, I've been in constant pain. I'm doing everything you said. I'm even like rinsing with salt water. I'm flossing gently. I'm like doing all the right stuff. And she's like, well, you know, I think you're just missing a spot, and you just really need to brush very gently. You need to Are you brushing gently? I'm like, you told me to brush vigorously.
You can't
She's
brush
like, well,
vigorously.
vigorously and gently. I'm just like,
Dentist.
I just started crying. Like, just say, I fucked up. Sorry. I'm sorry you're in pain. We'll take a look at it. Don't make it like, well, you probably brought this on yourself, bitch.
Yeah. It's so what? So she definitely realized she had said something wrong, and then she tried to course correct.
I said, well, I've been in constant pain for a month, and I'm doing everything you said, but I have been in like almost constant pain for 4 weeks. And it's just silence. And then she goes, yeah, I hear you.
Okay.
Why can't dentists admit that they were wrong? That happened to me too.
Right?
I had a dentist who refused to admit that she did something wrong. She kept trying to come up with different reasons why it was my fault. And at the end of the day, I was like, I did everything you said, and you've ruined my life.
What was going on in your...
I've had 2 teeth removed because of this.
Really?
And they're gone right now.
Oh my God.
And I'm waiting for and to get a implant costs like $10,000.
It's so
yeah,
expensive.
$6,000 per implant.
What
for me.
is going on? Why are teeth so expensive? And that is what you need to invest in.
The teeth market?
Yes.
Yes.
It's so expensive.
Forget about AI.
Quit comedy.
Yes.
Because that's one thing we have not mastered clearly, because you got these veneers and you're like, what do you wish people would have told you about veneers before? You can't bite into anything. You can't, they bleed all the time.
You don't want to get rid of your real teeth. I mean, talk to me in a month when I have the permanent ones in. Maybe I'll be like, it was so worth it. I love them.
Anyone complain about veneers before is the thing. You know why? Because no one admits they have them.
Yeah.
Right.
And this is the thing. There's shame about having cosmetic procedures to improve your looks. People have shame about it. They act like they don't have it. They don't talk about it. So then everyone's quietly doing this and only being advised by their doctor, who's making money off of them. And so if the only advice and encouragement you're getting to do it is from a doctor who is incentivized to encourage you to do it, what do we gotta destigmatize these things. If you get veneers, it's okay.
Yeah.
Admit you have
Nikki
it.
was
Tell
like,
people.
over the weekend, Nikki's like, next time, don't do this. You can't make decisions on your own. You got to tell your friends before
She
you
didn't
do this
tell
stuff.
us. We tell each other everything on the girls' chat, and I was like, "Why didn't you disclose this?" Because one of the girls on the girls' chat has had veneers and would have
she could have
advised
shared.
not doing
Yes.
this, even though I don't think it's going to be a mistake, and I think you're going to love them. But I think you were like, you didn't want to be talked out of it. You said,
I think it's like I go into a weird mode sometimes where I'm just like, it's like on my to-do list, like, buy salad dressing, go to the post office, get veneers. I'll just handle it. It'll just be a thing I'm doing, you know?
Yes.
I've done this before with a big decision in my life, and I regretted that one too. But like, it's like I don't want to be found out. I don't want to be talked out of it because I'm scared like Matt or someone's going to be like, you're spending how much? And also I'm like, this is going to be great. My dentist said it'll
You're
be
going to
great.
love them.
I
I know someone who has
Yeah.
veneers.
"Oh, people love
Thank
them."
you.
And they're
I need to
no,
hear
And
no
they
regrets.
look good. That's why people do it. I mean, they
Yes.
look better than your regular teeth, without
Yes.
question. Do they function as well? Not even close.
No, they're trash.
If the apocalypse happens and your teeth fall
Oh
out,
my
you have
God.
nothing
Done.
going for you. That should be, if you think that, if you are a prepper, start training to install veneers, because
Install
you
veneers.
will have a trade.
Oh,
No,
at the
one,
end of
one
time.
even better than that, because I think
Noah's
about this
dying.
all the time in the apocalypse, is that I would be dead within 3 weeks, no matter how good I am at killing
You
zombies.
feel like you would be a good prepper. Why? Okay.
Because I can't see. I have contact lenses.
Get
Yes.
LASIK, dude.
I
LASIK
can't. I'm
plus.
scared of LASIK.
No, dude, I did LASIK.
It's scary.
I'm not gonna do it to you right
Don't.
now. Why are you flinching? If I had a
Nikki
LASIK gun.
is certified.
LASIK is okay. Everyone that's scared of it, that we do ads for them on the show because I got LASIK done. I'm not kidding you. If it's so quick, it is quicker than getting your ear pierced at Claire's. It is so easy. It's not a big deal at all. They make you feel like, you're spending a lot of money, so they give you the experience of like, this is a procedure. But they could literally do this at I even said it to the practitioner. I go, you guys could do this at a mall kiosk. And she goes, we could. I mean, we're not going to but yes, they do millions of procedures. It's hard to find anyone that has a bad experience with it. Of course, there are those cherry-picked stories where people have had things, but they do millions of procedures. I only had one eye done. And for a while, it was a little bit like my vision was adjusting. They said it could take up to 12 weeks. And it did take, I think it's been like about 12 weeks since. And I wake up every day with perfect vision.
Yeah.
I don't have to bring contacts on the road with me. I can see up close. I can see far away. It's like, it's a fucking dream.
What is Brian afraid
I
of?
understand.
Yeah, what are you afraid of?
I'm afraid of,
The laser in your eye.
Well, I'm afraid of a lot of things. I'm also afraid to get a wedding ring. I have fear. I mean, that's just my MO.
I don't understand.
We're the same.
A wedding ring.
Well,
Are
I
we
have
both Russian Jews? Because that's the problem.
Don't make this a Russian Jew thing. This is...
It is true. We're sensitive people. We're highly sensitive. We're afraid of the worst. Bad things have happened to us
I get
in
that.
our history.
I understand, but why are you scared to get a ring? Because but you're not scared to get married forever, so don't tell me you're scared of commitment.
No, I'm not. I'm not scared of
So
commitment.
what's the scare of the ring?
I'm scared my finger will get ripped off in a
Yeah.
barn door.
Okay.
I knew it. I knew it.
Because of a
It's
guy,
some
a famous
hypochondriac
author, he had a ring. I
Jimmy
forgot-
Fallon almost lost his finger to a ring.
To a ring,
Yeah, it's
yes.
a common thing. I wear rings all the time, but people don't. It doesn't happen that often.
I don't want to get ripped off in a barn door.
Oh my god.
What if it does?
It
and then
could.
everyone, and then I got to go
Listen,
back
I
to
have irrational
everyone.
fears as well, but you have to admit they're irrational statistically.
Yes, well, I'm gonna get a ring that will detach easily.
Oh,
if
there you
it
go.
gets
Or a
caught in
tattoo ring.
Yeah,
Those are forever
It's like
though. You don't know.
breakaway
yeah,
pants.
well, then you have to get it removed.
And that's really painful. It's more painful than divorce.
Yes.
It's getting a tattoo
Yeah.
ring removed.
Nikki had a painful ring.
Oh yeah, I
Very
couldn't get a ring
painful.
off for almost a year, and it's still kind of it's actually healed around it, but it was a little bit like it kind of made my finger all like weird for a second and small. But I bought a ring remover on Amazon and got it off, and it was great. It felt victorious. But yeah, I love rings though. But yeah, you do sometimes. There's this ring. I get that caught on my nose when I'm washing my face.
Oh, yeah.
I had to point the heart down. I have a little heart ring on my pinky. Let me show people on YouTube watching. And when I have the heart facing the other way, I would be washing and it would get caught and it ripped my nose.
Oh.
Like it literally ripped the nostril to the point where I was like, it could have ripped my nostril off. I'm not, if it would have snagged. And it ripped it so much. There was blood, like a huge mark there. And I was walking around with it and it had, it looked like chocolate. Like I just smeared like chocolate on my face. That would be your first instinct if you saw me. And I realized no one tells me the truth about people just go, we assume Nikki has chocolate on her face because no one pointed it out. I'm like, I have blood like dripping down my face. I have another story of blood dripping down my face. And we'll talk about that right after this. Okay. So the other night I was going on at the Improv 2 nights ago. And I made the mistake. I get like zits, like I have like, if you get zits commonly, they usually come up in the same pore, reinfects, and it's always like the same place hormonally. And for me, there's one like on the corner of my lip, and it sucks because it looks like a cold sore. But I get these, and I get these two, and they're deep seated, and they take literally weeks to like come out, be a whitehead, for you to pop, and like weeks and weeks. I've had them now for 4 weeks, and they're kind of like under the surface, so you kind of don't see them, but I can just feel them all the time. And then the other day, it kind of came up enough that I was in traffic. Don't look, and I was just like, when you just pick at something because you're nervous, and you start picking at the thing you shouldn't be picking at.
Yeah, all the time.
Of course.
So I'm in traffic, and I'm just I haven't seen Chris in a while, and I'm about to see Chris, so I'm just like nervous, and I just like was like, oh, I got a little piece of skin, and I was like, I know I shouldn't. but let me just see if it comes off clean. Like, what
Yes.
delusion
Oh, yeah.
it lurks inside my brain that has never happened before in the history of me picking at something? Nothing has ever come off clean. It has always been worse underneath. Nothing. It's not like a sticker
then it
on your
makes a
face you're
little
trying to get
hole.
off. There's a hole, and then it bleeds. So all of a sudden, my mouth.
And
Chris,
you're driving?
No, I'm in the back of an Uber.
Oh, you're in the back of an Uber.
Chris has not seen me we haven't seen each other. We saw each other once for Mark Twain for like a couple hours, but we haven't been together for weeks and weeks. I'm about to see my boyfriend and my lip is bleeding. It looks like I have a cold sore. And so I'm blotting it with my finger and I took out a Band-Aid, but I didn't do the sticky part of the Band-Aid. I'm just putting the gauze part on, just like trying to, and I'm a block away in traffic from trying to get it to stop. It's not stopping. And then I see Chris and I'm like, I picked at a zit. It's not anything else. And he's kind of like, ugh. He like didn't need to know that. And so finally it stops bleeding and I go to a fit. I had a fitting when I got into town, so we had like an hour to hang out, and then I had a fitting, and then I go to there and they're kind of looking at me like, oh, she has a cold sore, but I didn't even say anything to them. I'm just like, let them think I have a cold sore. I don't care. Everyone does.
Wait,
Like,
what's the downside of having a cold sore? Why is that so much worse than having
for some reason, it's like when you fart in bed and you're like, it's a queef. It's like, it's not as bad as it coming out of your butt. Like queefs are less embarrassing than, they're still embarrassing, less
Yeah.
embarrassing than farts. And a zit is less embarrassing than a cold sore, even though it's essentially the same fucking thing. It's just a sore that you didn't help, that you can't help. You're not bad because you have it, because it's associated with dirtiness, and it's a virus. At
Yes.
least a zit I think that's the thing. It's viral, so it never goes away.
Like herpes.
You're stained. It's Well, it is herpes.
herpes.
Yeah.
So I think that's why the stigma. But I love when people are like, I have a cold sore, and they're so nonchalant about it. I think that's so cool, and I think we need more of
Yeah.
that. But I don't get them. Okay, you guys don't even think that I'm just kidding.
We need people telling people about their veneers and cold sores.
And
Yes.
molestations.
Yes, yes.
Like
I'm
everything
glad we're
needs to be
grouping
like
all
all
this
these things are
together.
not your fault. You didn't want to get herpes. You didn't want to get a cold sore. You didn't want to get molested.
Well.
Like
I was molested.
you were.
Yeah, I didn't even realize at the time.
What?
I was molested.
Wait, hold
Let's
on.
talk
News
about it.
break. Dun, 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 dun. This just in. Brian Frange was molested.
I didn't know until much later on in life that
See,
that
this
this
is what
was
happens.
bad.
Wait, tell me what happened.
Well, I worked at a deli, and it's how it always starts. I worked at a deli, and I was
The classic worked at a deli molestation story.
I went in very young. I was
Tale as old as uncle.
Tailed his oldest uncle. Yeah, I went in young. Okay, it was illegal. I was 12 years old.
Whoa.
I went in young because I wanted
Fresh
to
meat.
work. I wanted to get
Working with fresh meat.
exactly, and I sliced the meat. They wouldn't let me slice the meat until I was older.
Okay.
That's a.
Did they let you beat the meat?
They would let me watch.
Okay.
So I would learn from that, and I would stock the bottles and wash the dishes. And there was my boss. His name was Dennis, and he was a guy. I actually found my first porn magazine because of Dennis. He had a box of porn stashed in his basement, in the basement of the deli.
He wanted you to find it, no?
I don't know, but it was
Is
it
Dennis
was
the
pretty
one
clear.
who molested you?
Yes.
Then he probably sent you down there. That's what they do. They kind of like present sexual situations to go like, what do you think about this?
Well, it's one of these situations that's like, is this molestation or is this just guys being guys?
Oof,
But
I'm going to
he's-
go with the former.
He's like a 45-year-old owner of a deli, and I'm a 12-year-old boy.
First of all, he shouldn't give you a job, and it's suspicious already that he wants a 12-year-old boy working for him.
Yeah, he's
So I'd
breaking
be
labor laws.
carrying bottles, walking around, very heavy bottles, and then he would take a
12-year-old Frangie is so adorable to me.
oh my god,
Skinny and were you tall?
not skinny, chubby with round glasses and a mushroom cut.
Aw.
Yeah, and I played the
And
trumpet.
he was into you?
well, that's when I started working out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was like, I got
And you
it.
played the trumpet?
I played the trumpet.
Oh.
Yeah,
Do you still know how to play?
I play piano instead.
Can you play taps?
I can play taps probably still, but you got to work up just like your calluses on guitar. You got to work up your lips.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
embouchure. Is that what it is?
Yeah, you're.
Oh.
Well, no,
Embouchure.
that's only in woodwinds, I think. I'm not sure, but I
Okay.
know that that's
I
a
don't know.
woodwind
My
thing
dad's
too.
a trumpet player.
And he has
so
a
he's
good
always talking.
embouchure.
Yes. Well, he's always complaining about it. I don't even know what that is, like lip strength or something.
Yeah,
and
it
he's
must
always
be.
complaining about like the same thing, like cold sores or any lip stuff. He can't go in the sun. He's like, my embouchure, my lips.
Oh, Botox as well. Like when I got a lip flip, when I got a little like injectable, there's a thing you can do with Botox that makes your lip just go like whoop and flip up. You can't like sip on straws. And she's like, do you play any instrument? Like,
For how long?
I'm like, just suck dick, and until it goes away. Like it just changes the shape of your lip.
you had to stop.
I blow dicks. Yeah, I had to stop. My embouchure. That'd be so funny to get out of sucking dick. Because babe, I took up the trumpet. It's my passion. What? You're 38. Showed no interest in this. Okay, so you're carrying bottles.
I'm
You're
carrying
12.
bottles.
You
I'm
bowl
a little
cut.
boy. I'm a little boy, and he would take a broom and he would put it in my butt. No, he would take a broom and he
Wait,
would put it
what?
in my butt.
What?
While I was walking, and I'd go ooh, and I'd make that noise, and then he'd look at me and he'd go, "Take care, brush your hair."
Take
He'd
care,
go, "Take care, brush your hair," and and I didn't realize, and so he would do that like almost every day.
Was this
Shove
on
the
your
broom up
way
my
out?
butt.
Like
Just
on
while
your way
I'm
home?
working. I'm just working.
what's-
and
And how many
Take
times a
care
day
is
would this
like
happen?
goodbye.
multiple times. The "take care, brush your hair" was just his little catchphrase after the broom in
And
the
you
butt.
were annoyed by it, obviously,
Oh.
because you're carrying these heavy bottles.
Yeah, I was like, is this just a deli life? Is
Is this just what it's like to work?
yeah, to be an adult and
And
work in a
also
deli?
to be an adult man. Like, oh, we're just horsing around, I guess.
Yes.
And then he'd say, "Take care, brush your hair," and I felt like that made it not molestation. But then, many years later, I'm in therapy and I'm saying, this guy did shove a broom at my butt, and they said you were molested, and I was like,
Wow.
I don't really count it.
Yeah, I
But-
mean, it is. I mean, it's a molestation of, like, no moleste means like to disturb. Like it was a sexual disturbance that happened to you.
Yes,
And
yes,
a violation for sure.
yes.
Good for you for talking about it here. I'm so glad it
Yes.
wasn't worse.
Well,
I
because
honestly thought you were
it
gonna
didn't
say
consciously
worse.
affect me in any way, although it probably subconsciously affected me. But now I do brush my hair like 24 hours a day.
You say that
And
phrase?
take care.
I take care, definitely.
And you only use a Roomba because you
Yes.
cannot have any brooms near
No,
you.
no brooms, no.
I mean,
If
that is.
anyone listening has done this to anybody and you're like fucking passing it off as like frat boy shit or whatever you're doing, just stop doing it. Stop doing it to children. Stop this shit. It is weird. It fucks people up. I'm sorry, this is making me so angry, but like
Yeah.
so many people do this shit and they just pass it off as like locker room bullshit or just boys being boys. Go get therapy, figure out why you're bothering children with this shit and like
Yes.
deal with your issues.
Yes.
Like this is really fucked up and it affects people for many, many years.
Well, I will say that there's just nowhere for people to go to say that they're into these things. And that is a huge problem with why they keep happening, is because based on my research, pedophiles have nowhere to turn to say, I'm attracted to kids. I want to stick a broom up this kid's ass and I don't know what to do about it. Because if you are to tell, I just started seeing a new therapist yesterday. And before we got started, it was the first time I ever have seen a therapist. And before we get started, she says, I want you to know everything here is confidential unless you tell me that you're harming someone, you intend to harm someone, you intend to harm yourself, or you, I'm subpoenaed. And it was like, okay, that's good to know. But at the same time, there needs to be a place. I know I've talked about it before, but there needs to be a place where people can go. Because if I were to go, you know what? I want to violate children to like my therapist. She would have to report me, and she probably would.
Yeah.
And there should be a place for no maps to go. That's non-offending minor attracted persons. There's maps and there's no maps. And no maps are good people that just have a fucking thing in their brain where they're attracted to kids. They cannot help it, but they're non-offending and they want to be non-offending, but they can't get support anywhere because if you admit you're attracted to kids, you're already kill them, fillet them,
Yeah.
put them away forever. They can't help they're attracted to kids, just like you can't help you're attracted to women or you can't help you're attracted to men. It's the same thing. They just got a fucking shit deal. And the ones that do, and the reason why most of them end up offending is because they have nowhere to talk to about it. And guess who are the only people that want to hear about them wanting to fuck kids? Other people that want to fuck kids.
Yeah.
And so guess who's not going to deter them from doing that? Other people who want to fuck kids. So then they go in these communities on the dark web and they support each other and they teach each other how to do it. So unless there's a place for them to go, it's going to keep
How to
happening.
do
And I
what?
think that's the root. What?
They
How to
teach
molest
each other
kids.
How to groom, how to get them.
Start. Oh, there's this bylaw that you can get 12-year-olds working for you, and if you have a basement room, hide your porn down there and ask them to go get the milk bottles and hide the porn right under the milk bottles, and that way, then go down right as they see the porn and go, "Hey, do you like that? Oh, you saw my porn." They teach them like little shit like this that just opens the conversation and like opens the door. There's so many little things that they all share on these message boards from the podcasts I've listened to. But essentially, until we allow them to admit that they are attracted to kids and that that's not their fault, and we accept them for that, and we say, okay, well, people who have homicidal thoughts and want to kill people, I think we give them help, and we go, okay, well, you want to kill someone? Okay, let's help you not do that, or
Yeah.
or anything that you struggle with. Let's help you not do that. But for them, there's nothing. And so, but I am seeing a new therapist, and she's fucking dope. I'm seeing a somatic therapist.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it's like tapping into your, Noah's like, fucking finally, Nikki. She like taps into your, it's not a tapping therapist. I don't need to use that word, but we talked about it with the trumpet before. But she plays taps.
She's been tapping your clit.
Yeah. That would be, and there's nowhere for her to go to talk about how that's
She's like,
therapy.
take care, brush your pubic hair.
I go, okay, does the ass hair count? Because there's nothing really in the front. Is that still your pubes?
Your ass hair?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Yes,
count it.
it is.
It's pubis region is the front.
Pubis.
It's hair that has to do
Anus.
with puberty, you guys.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So
It's
chest
your,
hair is pubes.
Your adult, maybe
Arm hair is pubes. Or armpit hair.
I think
Okay.
so. Wait, your pubis is that area though.
That is the pube. Yeah, so I think pubes have to be down there.
So your asshole is pretty close.
That's so funny that there is one hair that's a pube, and right next to it, it's like, you're not on this side, man.
Yeah.
But it's like, I'm right there. It's like,
across the
sorry, you're an
street.
asshole hair.
You
It's
live
like,
in Jersey.
totally Jersey.
It's Hoboken
And
over
don't
there.
you fucking dare say you're from New York
Yeah.
City.
You got to go through the tunnel to get to me.
You gotta
Bridget
go through the
tunnel.
taint. Yeah, the taint is like
Wait,
the
what
tunnel.
were they called in the Civil War? The
Confederates.
the Union and the
Oh,
Confederates.
I thought you said pubes. What were they called in the Civil War? I was like, I don't know. You should know wooden teeth.
What were pubes called? They
score,
definitely weren't
7
called
years.
pubes. In the 1800s,
Oh, yeah.
they didn't
use
say
pubis.
pubes back then.
The devil's lawn. Something. They did not even address it. Talk about not addressing things back then. I mean, the first time you had sex was probably like the first time you had ever heard of sex back in the day, because there was
Oh.
probably no mention of it at all.
Well, the religion.
Yeah.
They would squash that immediately, and you wouldn't be able to talk about it until marriage, and then you'd be really horny on your wedding day.
But you don't even know what you're horny for. Like, you've never even. Where's it? The Warren Jeffs documentary.
Yes,
they
I
were
was
talking
just
about the
thinking
first time
about
they have
that.
sex, and they're like, I didn't even know this was a thing.
Oh,
and
God.
And the first time they're doing it was with an 80-year-old man.
No.
And these are girls that are like 14. Oh, okay. So back to my
One
new
of them
therapist.
was 12.
Yes. Wait, what does somatic mean?
Oh yeah, one was 12. Somatic means like Noah?
Touch.
like your
Somatic,
body.
It's when your body stores trauma, and you use another like physical touch or sound to get it out. I think.
Oh, I didn't even know that. I just thought somatic meant like your body, like feeling things. So like she's asking a lot of like, because I told her I've tried this before and I started crying almost instantly. I was not emotional yesterday at all. I was like, I don't even really feel like going to therapy. And I didn't get, she like asked me to go through my history of like trauma, and I'm like not even crying, not even like nothing is coming out. Like she's like, thank you for sharing that with me. I'm like, it literally doesn't mean anything to me. Like I've shared this a million times. I would do it on a podcast to
Yes.
the whole world. And then she goes, so tell me your history with somatic. And I'm like, well, I went to this one woman and she would always ask me like, where do I feel that? Like I would talk about something painful or something happy. And she's like, no, do a body scan. Where are you feeling this? And I was like, and I could never feel it anywhere. I would make things up because I knew she wanted me to give her something. Like I know that. And I was like, I have friends who are like, feel things so, like I was just thinking about Anya. She's so sensitive. She like will eat something that's like a little bit spicy, and she's like, I just feel it in my tum. Like you like have a sensitive. You feel everything. Like you have so many feelings, and I know that Kirsten, she'll eat something like a little bit like there's like, I think there's turmeric in this. And she can like tell instantly. I would never know anything. I have no connection to my body.
That's why I
and then,
think
like,
it would
what
be
I
good
eat.
for you because it teaches
So I
you
start-
how to do that.
Yeah. Well, I started crying because I'm just like, I just don't feel like a real woman. Like, I just don't feel things. And then that's what made me start crying. I was like, I just feel like I'm going to lie to you just to give you what you want because you're going to want me to feel it somewhere. But I don't feel it anywhere except in my head. Like, I don't know. I just get sad and it's like up here in my brain where thoughts are taking place. I don't know. So we started going through stuff. And she was like the first session, she's trying to get me to go like to really painful stuff and then really happy stuff and just see the difference, like the juxtaposition. And I got to be honest, I was kind of making stuff up because I didn't feel it anywhere. I was just like,
You gotta fake it. Because the faking it is what makes it real.
I've done that with orgasms too. Like I used to fake it before I was having one because I knew it would help me maybe get to it.
Yeah. Eventually you will feel it.
Yeah.
But no.
Yesterday orgasms, it did work for me, but yesterday with the thing, she was asking me like, what's something you're looking forward to right now? And I was like, oh, well, I get to see Taylor Swift tonight. Like I get to be in the same room as her. She was like, okay, tell me about Taylor. And I started crying, like talking about Taylor and what she means to me. And I thought she was going to be like, well, you're gay is the thing. Like I thought for sure she was going to say like, I think you're closeted. Cause I was just like, she's just like, means so much to me and she's like my best friend, but I don't know, and I'm just so grateful. And I was like crying about like getting to see her, and she was like, okay, where are you feeling this? And I'm like, I know what she wants to hear. I'm opening up. I'm not feeling like a little bird. Like when I was talking about my mom and like my childhood, I'm like this, and now I'm like this. And then so I just gave her that, but did I really feel it? I don't know.
You're a performer. I mean,
Yes.
it must be so you're going to be her toughest challenge yet.
She said I did a
Yes.
really good job, and I was like, ugh, I tricked her.
God,
So
why can't they be better?
initially, when you were talking about your mom, you were like hunched over, kind of with your arms
I
crossed.
saw that,
across
and
your
that's
chest.
what she wants me to do is just realize the things, body things I'm doing when I'm just. She's told me like my assignment this week is just when I do these extremes, because she says most people live in this little river of, bad feelings and good feelings, and we can kind of like stabilize within that, and it feels really bad and it feels really good, but nothing too much. But often people get thrown off of that track and it goes really, really bad, and I'm either way down here or way up here, and there's no really in between. And I need to start feeling, I don't know what's going to happen when I'm able to target what my body is doing when I'm feeling those things, but I guess something's going to come, something healing will come of it. I have no fucking clue. But
So you
she was
said
really cool.
this therapist was really good. What was your favorite part about it that made you conclude she was good?
She just had good questions. She kept me on track. She didn't let me go
Nice.
because I can really obviously talk a lot. And she just asked really good questions. And then she had really good insights into why she just right away got who I was. She was like, okay, you are full of energy. You are bursting with energy. You are not, because I was telling her I don't leave any time for slowness. Like I back to back schedule everything because I don't want any time where it's like I could just do anything right now. I don't like that.
Yeah.
I want everything.
You're a shark.
I literally will plan it so I go get coffee, I come back here, and I have 5 minutes to set up the thing, and then you get here.
Yeah.
And like, I don't want any time where could be on Instagram and I like will start to feel bad that I'm not posting a reel or something. Like I don't want any. Yes, I'm a shark.
Yeah. Sharks can't stop.
Yes. And so
What
sounds
happens when you stop?
perceptive.
What do you feel?
I guess that's the problem is like, I don't know. I think, because when I do stop, I get really depressed.
Yeah.
When I have too much, when I have any time off that everyone so desperately wants for me, I fall into like
Oh, God.
a really terrible depression.
Yes.
And so I'm trying to mitigate for that and try to not to have that happen. When I feel like I'm not producing or I'm not creating or I'm not busy equals I'm sad, and I start to compare myself, and I start to just have these like,
that's the problem.
yes.
If you really truly want to be complete, then you have to be able to settle down and not do anything and not get depressed. But who gives a shit? Just do stuff.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
Because because when I'm doing stuff, I'm depressed too. Because I just become like so tired, and I'm just like, I just want to relax.
But then you have something to complain about that justifies your
Right.
feelings, as opposed to you're relaxing somewhere and you have no reason to complain and you're depressed anyway. Whereas people who work at a grocery store are like, I would love to just take a week off. And
I
you take a
know.
week off, you get depressed. And it's like, who do you think you are? And that makes you feel worse about yourself.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Walking even today, like I was kind of lamenting about something today, and I saw like so many homeless people and schizophrenic people just like twitching and itching and begging for money with a blanket over them. And it was just like, I felt bad that I was even feeling bad. And, but I've been doing this thing that has been so working lately, and it is, I don't know where I got it from. Some fucking Instagram reel, someone shared it. But what you do is, it's happened for me about 5 times this week that I've been doing it.
You jerk off your dog?
Yeah. And he's out of cum.
Oh.
And I got to get a new dog.
Was that funny?
Yes.
I
Yes.
said it, and then I regretted it immediately.
No, I give it like a 7.
A 7?
I bet people chuckled at that listening at home. It was
Okay.
out of nowhere. I didn't expect it.
I did a callback to the jerking off of the
Yeah,
dog.
I think it was a good callback. I give it
Solid.
a 7,
A
which
7?
is like
That's pretty good.
It's really good.
A 7's good.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go crazy for it, but I did like it. And then I had a little fun follow up. I mean, I thought that was some good stuff. That was good podding. So clip it. So then, okay, here's the hack. When you get into a situation where you're like, oh my God, I'm gonna miss my flight, or like, oh, these bags are lost, or like, oh my God, like we're gonna be late to this thing, or just some kind of urgent, like bad things happen to me. My life is over. Like this is going horribly. I just go, I am so lucky. Things just always work out for me. I'm so lucky. Literally say it out loud or say it in your head. And I swear to God, it has worked every time.
Yeah.
You just say, when I get distressed, I did it this week when I was about to miss a flight. Another time when I was I checked bags too late, and it was not looking like it was. I was, in line doing this thing of like, Jesus Christ, saying that under my breath, doing my EJ Glaser thing of like, come on, like talking to no one,
Yeah.
but like wanting someone near
Complaints
me
to
to hear.
God.
Yes, but
Yeah.
also wanting the person next to me to hear so that they can
And they
maybe
can be
go,
like, I know. And then you're like, yeah.
And then hopefully it works its way up, and then they start sensing that the line is getting.
They're like, you know what? Now I'm going to do
Irate.
this faster because of all these grunts.
But can they move a little faster? Sometimes the way they staple the boarding passes together,
Or the typing.
they'll put their palm on it and then press down. Just go ting, like just be fast. But it's worked every single time I've done it.
You've manifested the luck, or you just feel better?
No, I made my flight. The bag showed up. The bags got checked in time. The line suddenly started moving. Like if you just say, and because it's not true. If you are a person who's able to even take a flight or make a phone call or be able to go see a doctor, whatever instance you're already in the top 1% of luckiest people. There are billions of people who would kill to trade places with you, no matter how. Like if you're listening to this podcast right now, your life is better than literally 90% of the world.
Yeah.
Honestly, your life is. But
And if you include
are
all
lucky.
of time, imagine being now you're alive
Lottery.
now. Yeah, you've won the lottery.
absolutely, we're not. You didn't get born into the Warren Jeffs cult. You didn't get born in.
Imagine you got born
Game of
in
Thrones
negative
time.
600 or 600 BC. You'd be dead. You'd already be dead.
100%. Yeah,
Yes.
we'd all be dead.
Yes.
Maybe one of us would be like the elder of the tribe.
Yeah.
At
35.
Yeah.
And
But
you're
it's
trying to
been
get
working.
veneers and it's not working.
But today I was like gonna complain about this more broad problem in my life of like this thing that's like just gnawing at me that's more of like a existential problem. And I was like, instead of like just dooming and glooming about this, I'm just gonna say it's all gonna work out. Like
Yeah.
I don't need to handle this thing today. I'm uncomfortable with this thing that's going on in my life right now. I want it to change. I'm scared for change, but I'm also wanting it to change. But I don't need to make a decision today. And I think that that's what gets in my head sometimes is when I'm like, let's say you're unhappy with your job or the place you're living or your relationship or the car you're driving, whatever, or a friendship you have, and you're like, I have to make a change. And you're not going to decide today. You're not going to. So stop putting the pressure on yourself to like make a decision today.
Yeah.
Because all these things I'm always like, and I know it's not time to decide yet. And instead I'm just going to say, I'm so lucky. I'm lucky that I even get to have this decision. And just say it randomly. I'm so lucky. Everything always works out for me. I am a lucky person. And it's like lifts it, and it's just going to take care of itself now.
Yeah.
I don't have to decide anything, and I know it will.
It's so
I
true.
I say that about money all the time. I go, there'll be more money. I say spend as much money as you want because you'll just make the money. It doesn't work all the time.
Yeah.
You'll just make the money. And then so I owe a lot of money to Chase.
A guy named Chase.
Yeah, a guy named Chase.
I know a guy named Chase that owes my friend a lot of money.
Oh my God. I have a similar attitude toward money, and I think I've never said it out loud, Brian, but I relate a lot. I've always had an intuitive approach to money. Like, I used to bounce checks all the time, and then I kind of got my shit together and like really got it together. And then once I got signed and I got with a financial advisor and like a business manager, I just stopped. Like, they do my taxes, I sign the paper. Like, they pay most of my bills. I don't want to think about it, and I'm so much happier now, you know? But I do have this weird thing where I just spend intuitively, and intuitively when I'm like, I am not sure I can afford that. I just don't. But I don't balance my checkbook now. I'm not that aware of things. I have like some clarity, but mostly I just rely on my intuition, and that's probably not smart.
That's good.
But I think I'm
The money
doing
comes.
okay.
It shows up.
Yeah.
You don't spend more money than you can afford intuitively. And when you do go into crippling, horrific debt, which I've
Yeah.
done many times.
You have?
Oh, God. $100,000 on the credit card.
Whoa.
It just-
For what?
It's just
It
for
comes?
life. Yeah, I don't work. I don't do anything.
Yeah.
And then when I do work, it's for. I mean, so it's.
You're
but then
freelance.
eventually it
Yeah.
comes. Eventually it comes.
Yes.
And then you pay it down, and everything's fine. And there's no debtor's prison.
just say, I am lucky, and things.
am
There's no
so
debtor's
lucky.
prison.
There's no debtor's
You're not going
prison.
to get thrown in prison.
You're not
for-
going to go into jail for.
You just might be
owing-
on the streets.
They might take away everything you hold dear, and you might be crippled. You'll never be able to buy a house.
Right.
You won't be able to afford your next medical procedure. But you know what?
You might
I
be
now have
toothless on the street.
You might have no teeth, but now I have a nice pair of shoes.
I do think an
I have a
attitude.
thing I have to spit up. Keep going.
I do think an attitude of like some relaxation around money is really helpful for me. Like my mom and my dad. My dad is constantly stressing about money, constantly.
Yeah.
And my mom is very relaxed about money. My mom has vastly more money than my father. My father's always stressed out about it. They're married, of course, but like they have their own separate accounts too.
Really?
And one of my parents is so happy about money, never worries about it, and has tons of it. And the other is constantly micromanaging everything, so stressed out, freaked out. And it's just like, I'm more like my mom, And it's funny because the person who clings to money tends to be more miserable and lose it. My mom always says it's energy. Money is just energy. It's kinda
Yeah,
what
your
Brian's
mom also
saying.
said that breast cancer could be healed by rubbing your hands together and cupping your hands, warming the hands and placing them upon the breast.
She wasn't wrong.
Well, you didn't have
no, she didn't-
cancer. So
I know, but
that's why
I
she
was about to get a
not-
needle biopsy though, and then because of my mom, I was like, "Can we just take another look?" And they did another ultrasound, and we're like, "Oh, actually, we don't need to do a needle biopsy. We can just
Okay.
quickly aspirate that cyst. Oh, you're fine. Just go home. No surgery, no needle biopsy,
Yes.
no scalpel in my
get,
boob."
yeah. The money thing, I grew up with my parents vacillating between spending a lot, like buying a ice skating rink that you put in your backyard from Hammock or Schlimmer, like rich people shit.
Oh yeah.
For who?
For us.
What's
My
Hammock
dad-
or Schlimmer?
Hammock or Schlimmer is like the sharper image, but for richer people.
Oh
so
my
like
God, I've never
the
even heard of
cover
it.
is always like a trampoline on a lake. Like,
Oh.
There's always like products for really rich like people,
Wow.
just stuff that you would see at the Succession, houses. A fun stuff
Okay.
like a helicopter you can buy, or like a cryogenic chamber for your guest room. Like there's just shit like that. And so my dad bought an ice rink. Like fun, we would always do fun stuff, and then there was also the word destitute thrown around all the time of like we are. Then it would vacillate. So I never knew where. So I also vacillate between those two of like I have so much money, and then I don't look at it, and then I start going like I have none. And but I want to get back to so my lip was bleeding the other night. I go to my fitting, and then I go to the Improv to do a set, and I'm about to walk on stage, and it's already like scabbed over, and I'm like, oh, good, thank God. And then as I'm touching it to make sure it's just like not scabbed over, I feel like a piece of skin, and I'm like, well, that's gotta go. And they're like saying my credits, right?
You gotta control yourself.
I can't. When I gotta pick,
Right
I gotta
before
pick.
the most
and I
important
know there's
moments
some
in your
pickers
life.
out there. I'm picking Nikki.
Yeah, me.
And so I was just like, let me just get it because it'll just like be a little piece of skin. It's not gonna. And then fucking, I pull it and it hurts, and I'm like, I've been doing this since I was in my teens. This is a bleeder. And I go on stage and I'm going like this, and I go, guys, my lip is bleeding. I was like, and then I thankfully I have a joke for it where I'm like, I just, I smiled too. Like, I was like, isn't it great when you pick at something? Because everyone relates to it. My whole life I'm ashamed of my face bleeding when I pick at it too much. Turns out everyone knows what this is like. Every girl has picked at something too much. Every guy and every girl has covered it up with, plastered it with powder to like seal it. And then you smile a weird way, or you hit it and it starts bleeding and you don't even know. Like everyone, and it's suddenly a relatable thing. So it honestly was one of the best sets I've had recently because I was able to start with such a relatable, honest thing of like, the comedian is bleeding. And she pointed it out. She said exactly what we're all thinking, which is like, what the fuck? So, and then last night I went to the iHeart Awards and it was still scabby. So I just put over, like I didn't touch it all night though. Because I couldn't risk bleeding on TV.
We've really buried the headline here. I mean,
I
this
went
is
to
the
the
most
iHeart Awards.
important thing. You
Yeah.
sucked. And
We got to go to a break
Yes.
right now, but we're
What a
going to come
tease.
back and we'll get into the iHeart Awards, which were last night, where Taylor Swift was in attendance, as well as yours truly, Nikki Glaser. So we'll be back with the whole iHeart story right after this. All right, we're back. So I went to the iHeart Radio Awards last night, and the only reason I got to go is because the director, Joel Gallen, who directed the roast. This is how things work out in life. Did I already tell this?
No.
But this is how things work out for me. Joel Gallen directed the roast, and when the roast would air, he would have a party at his house for everyone that did it to come. And every single time I was always scared to go to these parties because it was just famous people there, and also I have to watch myself, which I hate watching myself with an audience, and it was just like everything in me was like, I don't want to go to this party. I don't want to do this. Like, I'm scared. Like Ian was the other day to go to the fucking Mark Twain Prize. But I went, right? And in going to it, I got to meet Joel. I got to be familiar, because usually directors of shows you don't really meet. You meet them maybe once backstage, and then they're out in a van outside the center running the show from a van. So you don't really see them and interact with them. But I got to know Joel. Joel also directed Chris Rock's recent special, which was great. He does like so many live events. He does the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame award, or awards induction, and because I have his number now, I always text him like, oh my God, whenever I see something he's done, I always like write him and let him know. And he does all these cool music things, and which I'm a huge music fan. So I've gotten to ask him about, there was this one shot of Taylor Swift that she performed at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and they were honoring Carly Simon, I believe. And she was singing, "Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow?" And they come around, the camera comes around, and she just like shoots this glance at the camera right at the perfect time, and like looks over her shoulder and like kind of gives it a nod. And I was obsessed with this shot. I'm like, how did she plan that to like look at the perfect time and do this sultry look? And because at first she's singing ahead, and you're like, she doesn't even know there's a camera there, and then she just hits it and like does a look. And it's one of my favorite little performance moments. So I wrote to Joel and I was like, tell me the story behind this shot. Did you guys rehearse this? Was this her idea? Was it your idea? Because the shot's amazing. And he said,
And he's got to love this because nobody ever asks him shit like this.
yeah, I think I found that he's open to answering all my like questions about this stuff. And
Of
by the way,
course.
no matter how big anyone is, they still want their work to be celebrated. And certainly people behind the scenes do not get as much credit for their work as people in front of the camera. So I wrote to him and I was like, tell me about this little moment. And if you watch her singing this, you guys will know exactly what I'm talking about. I think it's within the first minute, and it's around her shoulder on the right side. And he said, not only did we not rehearse it, she had no idea what the cameras were. That was just a live moment, and she just sensed the camera. He said, I've never worked with anyone who is so intuitive when it comes to angles and shots. And she just saw it. And if you look at this, I mean, this is something you would rehearse over and over to get it right because it's so perfect and it's such a great little moment, both on his part and hers. But that was a cool moment. So we've just stayed in touch. And because he has a huge say in this iHeart Awards, 2 years ago, he was like, texted me and was like, would you want to present at the iHeart Awards? I was like, yes. He didn't even know I had a podcast with iHeartRadio. Like, iHeartRadio, no offense to you guys, you had nothing to do with, I mean, you had to approve it. But Joel Gallen is the one who submitted me and thought I would be great. And then I did it 2 years ago, and then I did it, and then he wrote me again this year, and he called me. He was even like, okay, we can get you on a flight from Seattle to like after your Eugene show, you can come in on, and he was like checking flights. I'm like, isn't someone else supposed to be doing this? So he gets me to do this.
That's crazy to me. I thought iHeart put you up to this.
No,
this is wild.
Joel Gallen, and this is why you have to go to things and you have to meet people, and this is like part of the schmoozing thing, and you have to be nice, and you have to. I wasn't anything but genuine to Joel, but like me developing a relationship with him led to this. And you realize so many people in this business get opportunities because they have prior relationships.
Oh,
It's
God,
all about
that's
that.
100%. That's it.
Yeah, like how about you and Adam Ruins Everything? Like how did you get that gig?
Well, that was a blind packet submission, so they literally didn't know who submitted the packet.
Oh, so the opposite of the story.
You're the exact opposite. But then once
on merit.
once I got the interview,
Yes.
I already knew Adam. So once I
Oh.
got the interview, it was like, well, I know him. Obviously, we're going to hire
Gotcha.
him. He blind submitted a packet. My friend blind submitted a packet and got this far. We're not going to not hire him now.
Yes, and now we know it's my friend,
Yes.
and he's a white man. Bring him in.
Yes.
No, that's the way to
Well,
do
this
it.
is 2016, so it's,
Yeah, before we
Yes.
knew you guys were the devil.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I feel anyway, so I get to go, and Taylor Swift is gonna, and Joel tells me Taylor Swift is gonna be in the building. I'm like, is she performing? And he's like, no, she's accepting an award, but she's gonna be there. And I'm like, oh my God. So, and he's like, we'll sit you within, we'll sit you in close range. So I get there last night. The red carpet is like full of, like, there's a line to get into the red carpet, and it is like so packed. And I'm doing my thing of like, you're lucky. You're just lucky. Things work out for you, because I'm like, I've got 15 minutes before I need to be inside the theater the show starts, and this red carpet is backed up with people, no one you would recognize. Like Chris Convey, my boyfriend, went with me. We were both like, we don't know any of these people. I saw Emma from Dancing with the Stars, who I always see in line when we're at these things. I saw, I guess, Doja Cat, which I didn't know was her at first, because she had like blonde hair. She did not look like Doja Cat to me last night. And I saw like some country stars. You can just tell who's famous because they're just dressed nicer.
they just like look perfect.
They just look so cool. And I looked pretty cool last night too, because I had a great team working on me all day. So I had an amazing dress, amazing hair, makeup. I looked important for sure. I stood out because like the effort went into it. So I get on the carpet. Chris gets to pose with me for some, and then I do some solo ones. And then we get down the line, and there's like all these interviews. So after you do the pictures, then there's all the press doing interviews, like Extra and, TMZ and not Associated Press, like, all the junkets. And Chris is like, do you want to do these? And I have a guy like walking me down the red carpet, but he's not really like, he's like, I don't know how to do this. I think this is his first day on the job. And I'm like, you don't know how to do your job? So Chris starts going up to people, and I see him getting rejected of like, do you want to talk to Nikki Glaser? And they're just like, we're good. Like I see him getting no's
Chris.
because they don't even know. They don't know who I'm. It's fine. They don't know who I'm. There's too many people to know, and this is a music event. Like if
okay.
you're doing your research, you're not even expecting Nikki Glaser to be here. So I'm like, I can't watch Chris get rejected anymore. I just need to show myself. So I go up to this guy at E, and I go, hi, Nikki Glaser, had a show on E. Like, do you want to talk to me? And you could tell he did not want to at all. But like, it's me. He can turn down Chris for me, but he can't turn down me.
Yeah.
So he's just like, how are you feeling tonight? And just like looking past me, looking for anyone more famous. And any, it was just, and
makes
then
me sick.
after the interview, I just go, Chris, we don't need to do this, because these interviews never even show up anywhere. I never even see them when I do them. So I was like, let's
Only
just go
when
inside.
somebody is particularly rude do they show up. That's the only
Exactly.
time I ever see him is like,
Yes.
that person was rude to this reporter.
Yes.
Or that reporter was really rude to
Or
Lady
they
Gaga.
said an awkward thing, like the Hugh Grant moment.
Yes,
Or
yes. It's a no-win situation.
totally true. I don't know where else those are showing up. Who watches Extra? I'm sorry.
I
At
don't
the
know.
nail salon, sometimes I have to because it's on the screen or whatever. Yesterday it was Deal or No Deal from 2008. I was like, Meghan Markle. I was like riveted on a Deal or No Deal episode yesterday. It was so fun. That show's so fun.
Yeah.
I forget. Howie Mandel.
It's not really an interview, but you're on page 6. Yeah, you're right under
Okay.
Lenny Kravitz for outfits on the red carpet.
Oh, really? What are
Yeah.
these? What's my caption? Because the Daily Mail caption was hilarious. It was like, Nikki Glaser glitters in gold and displays her long, glowing tan legs.
So it's Nikki Glaser wearing a nude embellished dress.
Oh, all right. I'll take it.
Nice.
For some people, page 6 is the pinnacle of fame.
I mean, under Lenny Kravitz, too, that's not bad.
Yeah.
My placement was pretty good. Daily Mail, you had to scroll so hard you get carpal tunnel to get down to where my photo was
Too many
on
ads.
the photo spreads. I mean, it was so long down. Like, I'm literally like the 40th person down. I'm right, like a Teen Mom is right before me, I think, from MTV's Teen Mom. But yeah, Lenny Kravitz hosted. So that's a good placement on page 6. Thank you, page 6. So I get through, we go inside, and we walk down this gauntlet. So after the red carpet, there's a gauntlet of fans. Like, I'm not kidding you, a 1/10 of a mile. Like a pretty long gauntlet of like on both sides. No one said anything to me. I got through it. Chris was about to film and I go, don't film this. This is so embarrassing. No one, and I look important. Like,
Oh my God.
It looks like clearly someone should take a picture of this lady. She looks like she's coming through with like a team. No one cared. And so I started going, I'm Nikki Glaser. I'm host of FOA. And then they start going, Nikki. And then, so I have to do that for myself. And I'm like, I'm a funny comedian. You might recognize. And then they start recognizing me. But they didn't. I just don't think people contextually were thinking I would be there.
At a music that you need to hire a town crier. You need to, like in medieval times, you need someone to come out with the trumpet. Yeah, maybe Anya's
Shame.
dad.
Could be, it could be my dad.
Is that the thing? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And blow the trumpet and then go, this is here comes Nikki Glaser. She's a funny comedian.
Well, that's what they do on the red carpet
Oh, they
generally.
do
They
that?
have a person come out and go, it's Nikki Glaser. She has a new show coming out on E! She has a podcast. And then everyone starts like, So I didn't have that yesterday. They had a little clip. They had a whiteboard. So the photographers knew who I was. It said Nikki Glaser, presenter. And so they knew. But all the fans had no idea until I started telling them, and then they're freaking out. I do the same thing when TMZ vans drive by.
Yes.
I always on the street, I'm always like, I'm Nikki Glaser. I'm a host of FOL, and you saw someone famous today. And then they take pictures, but they don't really know who I am.
Yes,
But I just want to
do
give
that.
people.
I lie.
You do? What do you say?
I say like I produced Burn Notice or something. And then the guy, the tour guide gets to say, "Oh, there is a producer of Burn Notice."
Notice.
Yeah, no one knows who that is. I'm like eating a corned beef sandwich, and I say, "I produced Burn Notice."
I used to say, I'm friends with Amy Schumer before I was famous. That's what I would say. And people literally would take pictures of me. But so I go into the thing and we're early and it's filling up slowly and I'm just waiting for Taylor to come in. I don't have to wonder when Taylor is in the room. You know why? Because people start shrieking their fucking faces off. So I hear shrieking and I know exactly that Taylor's in the room. And she comes in and she is wearing, I don't know if you guys saw it, she's wearing like a hooded, sparkly, amazing outfit. It harkens back to not only Reputation era, which is maybe we're getting a hint that her new Taylor's version is going to be Reputation. I think this is more of a reference to her Bejeweled video in which she's wearing a sparkly Bejeweled hood. It almost is identical to the video. So I don't think this is a Reputation thing. Any Swifties listening?
I saw it. I thought it looked like I thought it was awesome looking.
Game
It reminded me of
Thronesy.
chainmail,
Yes.
and I was like,
Yeah.
"All right, she's going for battle."
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Well, that was Reputation era. She was ready for battle. That
Yeah.
was after Kanye stuff. And so that was like, so maybe it was in reference to that, but she looked fucking cool as fuck. It was one of my favorite looks of her ever. So she walks in, she is 5 rows in front of me.
Oh my God.
Which is
Yeah,
all
that
I've ever
was
wanted. And I start
crazy.
crying as soon as she walks in. Even though I have been this close to her before. I was close to her on the rooftop for the 1989 premiere that Chris got me into, and we both made eye contact, and I go, "It's cold," and she goes, "It is." And so we had a moment. So I was close to her in that moment. I met her backstage at the Red Tour. That was before I was a Swiftie. So I've been close to her before, but this has been, my fandom has gone up so much more even since the 1989 moment on the rooftop, that being this close to her now is as if I'm inside her compared to those moments. Like, it's so much closer than even hugging her. I hugged her at the Red Tour. I took a picture. I talked to her.
How many years ago was that?
That was 2013.
Okay, so over 10 years ago now.
Yeah, and it was before I was a Swiftie. I was just like, this girl is so amazing, but I didn't know where it would take me. I became a Swiftie when Blank Space came out. That was the moment it hit me, and I go, my life is forever changed. I will never not be obsessed with this woman and in love with her. And so So last night I get teary-eyed when she walks in because she's just right there. And I just know she's like taking a break from her tour right now. She is exhausted. She is doing this for us. She's doing this. She's just given so much. And then I start getting really territorial because first of all, she has a huge team. The show hasn't started yet. She has a huge team around her. First, we watched a Pink performance because it was a pre-tape. It was the opening performance, but they have to clear the stage. So the only thing they pre-taped was the Pink performance. And then that aired 5 minutes later. So they taped that. She wasn't in the room. Then she gets brought in the room. Then we're kind of waiting and people surround her. And thank God, because people are trying to come up to her. People are freaking. I mean, everyone's freaking out. Everyone's a goddamn Swiftie. And then Flava Flav, by the way, is right next to me. He's seated like 3 rows ahead of me, and he's on the right side. So there's an aisle. I'm right on the aisle. Taylor Swift is in front of me 5 rows. Flava Flav is to the right, across the aisle, but closer to Taylor, probably 2 rows ahead. And I see Flava Flav get up and start walking to Taylor Swift. And I just go, you stay away from her. Because I know Flava Flav, everyone loves Flava Flav. No question about it. He's just a kind person. I used to watch Flava of Love. I love him.
Love that show.
He's so cute, and he's like dressed with his clock, and Chris was like, why is he here? And I was like, he's getting a Lifetime Achievement Award from Time. From clocks. They're just appreciative of the concept of time is honoring him tonight. So he walks over, and I'm like, and I'm saying this to everyone who approaches, you get away from her. Don't sap her energy, because she's going to she's going to be nice because she's a nice person. So she's not going to be a diva to anyone. She has to have divas around her protecting her. But he found an in. And Flava, if you look, there's Getty images. There's so many images of her and Flava Flav. It's like the funniest thing.
God.
And they're taking a selfie together. And people are making fun of Taylor for they saying it's such a millennial thing and not a Gen Z thing to take a selfie and to take it with the upper volume. Do you know that takes a picture? Like if we were to take a selfie.
Yes, of course.
Okay, so it's the upper volume. Instead of pressing on the thing itself,
here,
you just
I
go
have
like
it.
this,
And that's millennial?
and it takes a photo.
Gen Z's making fun of us?
Yeah, they're making like, look how she takes a photo. I'm like, that's the smart way.
What's the other way?
How does Gen Z do it?
like this?
No.
Like
Why? Are they
on
dumb?
the face of it itself.
It's so much harder to do that way.
Yeah, so this took so long for them to figure out how to do, though, because at first he comes over, she's got to give Flava Flav the respect.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, I'm sure. She's like, but I have to say, this was all because he breached her security line and just,
How did
and
he
no
get
one's
in?
gonna, well, because it's not a security line. It was just like her, like, it's not actual
He just,
security.
like,
It's
kinda
just people.
slithered
It's
in?
like her, like, publicists and stuff.
Yeah.
So he just comes up because he's Flava Flav. Like, no one's gonna be like, get out of here, Flava Flav.
He
Like,
flashes
you're
the
famous.
clock in their face. Ah!
Yeah, he blinds them. They start like just a burn hole through their head. Burn notice. And so he gets in, and she's of course going to be nice, but that was not like a planned thing. That was Flava Flav just inserting himself, not understanding. I don't think he understands how off limits this woman should
But
be.
it's
people
just
like
like The
that
Bachelor.
succeed.
If you want time with The Bachelor, you got to be like,
You gotta
"Can
go
I steal
in."
you for a second?
Yeah.
And then they took me backstage to go. So he gets that picture, and she's obviously so nice. Then she gets her award, and she gives the best speech. She talks about how everyone sees how often she wins, and it's like all you see are her successes, but she's failed so many times. And she was like, thousands and thousands of times I have done the wrong thing. I have written the wrong song. I've failed, and you don't see that, but that is what happens. So please, she goes, I hate failing. I'm never going to be comfortable with it. It's embarrassing to fail, but I give myself permission to fail. And I thought that was a really nice thing for her to say. And she said, I want to say this especially to young people. And I'm like, no, I need to hear this, bitch. Like I so needed it. So her speech was just so sweet. And she's just This is why I love her, because
She's
she's
a great
honestly like,
public
she gets up there.
speaker.
She's just like, you guys, oh my God, thank you. Like, she's honestly still like shocked that people are like, God, she goes, thank you for the clapping. Oh my God, that's so nice. Like, she's still like,
She's also like,
truly
thank you
so
for putting
grateful.
that video together.
Yeah, thank you for putting the video together. That video, all those people, because there was like this montage video of people talking about how great she is, all these celebrities. And she was like, I can't believe that video. And it's like, Taylor, yes, you like, but she really doesn't. She's still humble enough, or maybe she's pretending to be, but I don't think it's pretend, because a lot of Swifties have compiled videos of her from childhood videos that have been released, and she was always a grateful little girl. She's always like, thank you, even when she was 3, she was thanking people and saying please and thank you. And that's why I like Taylor's, because she has like normal parents that don't look like Botox to death. They don't look like fame pushing parents. They're just like good people. And so I get brought back during the 4th act, and my part is in the 7th act. So they bring me back early to go get touch-ups and go over the prompter and figure it out. And I'm struggling with my joke because it's kind of like lame, because I tried to do other jokes. So I'm presenting the best new artists to perform. And I wanted to do like in my tone of voice, which was like, the best new art. Think about it. Think about how I go, no matter who you love. I said something. I wanted to do a bit to the effect of, your favorite artist was once the best new artist, or like was a new artist. Everyone you know and love and think they've been around forever has once been a new artist. Because it's almost my point about when people go, who is this girl? When I show up on something, they're like, who is this? And you just go, did you know who Tom Hanks was forever? There's a point where you figure out who everyone's new at some point. Like,
Yes.
you gotta meet me at some point, and then you'll like me. But like,
When you were
people
born, the doctor was like, who the hell?
I don't know this at all. Why would they cast her in my... Yeah. People just are confused. So my point was going to be like, I wrote this thing that was like, there was even at one point when someone was like, who is this? And they're like, it's this hot new guy, Beethoven. And they're like, this is sick. Bach doesn't stand a chance. Like, there was a time when Beethoven was the hot new kid on the scene.
Yeah,
And
he
then
really was a kid too.
Yeah, was he?
He was a child prodigy.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. And then there was another run I had about, I was going to say, even Taylor Swift was a new artist at one point. There was a point when someone was like, I was going to say, scratch that, I said Taylor Swift. So my thing was going to be, I'm presenting for best new art. I'm presenting these best new artists. And every artist you know and love has once been a new artist. There was a time where someone was like, who is this? She's really good. Taylor Swift? Oh my God, Taylor Swift is great. I'm a shifty. And I was going to like have that be a joke, but they were like, we don't want that. And then another joke I wrote was going to be like, there's nothing like the first time you hear your new favorite song and you go, who is this? She's amazing. And they go, that's Rob Snyder's daughter. Because that is Elle King, the girl that sings X's and O's, they want me. You know that song?
Yeah.
That's Rob Snyder's daughter.
Wow, really?
Yes. No one
my
knows
God.
that. So they vetoed those. So I ended up doing
That one's great.
I ended up doing a more generic like thing of you just iHeart always has the greatest new music, whether you're looking for something to listen to at the gym, or you need something to cry to, or you're just crying at the gym. Not because you're sad, because you're trying to get the free weights to yourself. No one knows what to do with a sobbing woman doing hip thrust to Anti-Hero or something like that. So I ended up doing that, but I go backstage. And on the way backstage, because I have a little time, my handler is like, Taylor Swift's over here. Do you want to try to meet her? And I go, no, I'm not Flava Flaving. I don't want to bug her. I'm not in this to bug. I want to leave her alone. I don't want her to know. I don't need her to like focus on me. And so I passed up the opportunity to find her. I didn't want to do it. It wasn't the right time. I just didn't feel right. And then I go backstage, I do my thing. Kelly Clarkson comes off stage, her and Pink perform together. I missed that performance because I'm backstage. But they come off and Kelly I go, great job. And Kelly's like, oh my God, hi. And she like gives me a hug, which was really nice.
That's nice.
She doesn't have to recognize me, even though I've been on her show 3 times. But like, still, I wouldn't expect her to remember me. And she was like, I never see you in this context. Oh my God, hello. She was so nice. And I heard her backstage say to Pink, after they got off stage, I never get nervous singing except if I'm singing with you. Which I thought was kind of a cool little backstage moment of like, she really reveres Pink's voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was cool. And so then I do my thing and I have to walk upstairs and I have the pointiest shoes I've ever had. They look like elf shoes. Let me just show you them. They're the longest shoes I've ever worn in my life. And they're pretty interesting. Look at, they have a spring that wraps around your leg.
Oh, okay.
Isn't this so
hilarious.
funny, the shoe? And
Definitely off of a person. It's
Very
hilarious.
long toes.
But look at how much more it's coming. My foot ends there and it's coming off that. And I have to walk upstairs. This is a classic tripping shoe. Like where, you know, when you have slightly bigger shoes and you start hitting the stair and you trip. So I have to walk upstairs
You look like the
before I present
town
my work.
crier.
It
Those
totally
look like
is.
That was a
crier
medieval
shoes.
thing.
This is like a little Joker shoe.
Back in medieval times,
Jester.
the
Yeah,
length.
the court jester.
Sorry, the length of this thing was like men would wear them. It was a
Oh.
fashion statement for men, and the longer your
The bigger your dick.
shoe, yeah, basically.
Yep.
Kind of. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So I'm walking upstairs. I'm like, oh my God. So I practice it and it goes fine. And I have to say, every single time I presented an award recently or done like any kind of prompter reading at an award show, which has been several times recently, I flubbed a line. And I don't really care because no one cares. But it's like, you're just nerves and you flub a line. And I had a lot of copy to get through. I had to be like, and Infinity brings you the best new artist who helps you discover, and iHeart helps you discover your next favorite artist that is infinitely you. And like all these. And then I just say 4 artist names and present them. And I didn't fuck up a single line. I
Yay.
nailed it.
Wow.
And I got the note right before from Joel Gallen. Joel told someone, the director told someone to tell me, hey, and the guy that was working with me, by the way, was the same guy that came out on stage when they presented the wrong Best Picture nomination at the Oscars. He was the one that came out on stage and was like, no. It was not La La Land. It was, or it wasn't
Oh, my
Moonlight or
God.
whatever. And so that guy was famous. I didn't find out till after. Chris was like, you know the guy that was your stage manager? He's the guy that was the Oscars. And I was like, oh, he's famous. And he was really nice and was a fan of mine. And we were talking about St. Louis and stuff. But anyway, Joel had one of the writers come up to me and go, hey, can you go fast? And I was like, that's the name of the game for me. Like, are you kidding me? And I was like, I am going to, and that's why I didn't try to fight for the line I wanted to say. I'm a team player at these things. I'm serving Joel, who is the director. I want to give him a smooth show. And so I zipped through it. I nailed it. And then after the show, Chris and I went to go get pizza and we're sitting at the restaurant and he gets a text from like another one of the big, like number 2 in line, I think right underneath Joel. And he said, Nikki must be gunning to host this thing because I was in the control room.
Yes.
And the execs at Fox go, that's the energy we want brought to this. She just nailed it or something like that. And I was like, yes.
All right.
So it's
That's
good.
right.
It's good to fight
They
for
would
what you
be
want to
lucky
do.
to
and take
have
chance.
you.
Yes. But
Seriously.
Lenny Kravitz, I mean, I'm no Lenny Kravitz, but I do think I am a really good host. And it was a nice reminder to not do, because Chris last night final thought, Chris was helping me with my line because I was working with the writers and texting with them about what I was going to say to present. And Chris was like, you can do this generic one, or do you think Schumer would do the generic one? Do you think Tina Fey or Sarah Silverman would do the generic one, or would they try to fight for what they want to do? And I was like, I do believe they would fight for it, but I don't think this is the place to do that. Like, I think there's a time and a place to fight for originality and to be yourself, but like, I think it's better for me to work with what they're giving me and make that my own, as opposed to trying to buck the system and inject something that is not what is already approved by this sponsored event. And then I heard Taylor Swift's speech of saying, she got 2 awards last night, and one of her speeches was also inspiring, was saying about Anti-Hero, it won for Best Song. And she said, we really didn't think this was going to be the single because this song isn't like a classic single song. It's not, I didn't think it was like, catchy enough, not simple enough. It wasn't all of these things that a single needs to be. And so when I said it was going to be the single, I knew people were going to be disappointed. And she said, but I have never,
And she won an award for it.
Yeah, she won Best Song for it. So it obviously did work. But she said something to the effect of, when I've played it safe, it hasn't worked out for me. When I give people what they want and when it doesn't work out, it's doing the thing that I want to do and trusting my intuition and trying to be different. Everyone's telling you to be like other people, but the thing that's really going to set you apart and make you successful is doing what is uniquely you. And so then I heard that and I'm like, well, I should have done my own line. So I was getting mixed messages, which you always get, and which is always kind of my final thought on the show, which is like, I get told one thing and then I get told another. But I think I did a perfect mix of like falling in line when you have to, but also injecting yourself into it and making the most of a moment when you find yourself backed into a corner where you're not going to get to be yourself, and being a team player and knowing the job. My job was not to go in and be Nikki Glaser and be memorable. It was to present an award, keep things tight. I'm a professional presenter. I'm a professional host. Most of these people presenting awards are like musicians who are still trying to be kind of cool. They don't know how to read a prompter. My role was to keep the show moving, and that's what I did. And I hope I get to do it again. I probably will because of that. So
Nice.
You had a choice to make. I mean, the one choice was, do I want to do what the producers and the creators of this show would want, or do I want to make like a few more fans, basically?
Yes.
Both are equal choices.
Yes. And I've done the other thing before. And I have to say, when I try to, oftentimes trying to be, I mean, Chris even said it. I would have been trying to be Amy Schumer or Tina Fey in that moment. Because it isn't like me to go like, I'm just gonna fucking do what I want. Like, I would have been imitating someone else even to be different. So
Also, your joke and your delivery is yours, so it is essentially you. So
I was able to make it me. Because at first the joke was like, or you're just crying at the gym and then it's over. And Chris was like, it's kind of like a crying woman joke. Like, we've heard it. It's just like, women cry. It's just like, I don't know. And then when Jocelyn Hughes, a writer, changed it and she was like, I'm not sad. It was just because I want to use the free weights alone. Or whatever. That made it like, that took it out of that realm of like, oh, sad woman crying. Women cry all the time at the gym, and made it way funnier. So shout out to Connor McSpadden, and Jocelyn Hughes, who were the writers on that, and that wrote that joke with me. And what else? So yeah, and
How
it was
exciting. What a great night, Nikki.
Oh
You're
my
a
God,
pro and you're a knockout.
Oh, thank you. It was my glam team did an amazing job. Shout out to Karina. Shout out to Christina. Shout out to Danny and Emma. But it was really fun getting ready for it. But the best part was, in California, when you shoot these shows, it's over and then it's still light outside because it started at 5:00. It ended at 8, or 7. It ended at 7. It was a 2-hour show. Chris and I were like, it's still light out, and we had a whole night ahead of us.
Pizza time.
And what'd you say?
Pizza time. What was on the pizza? What's happening now?
I went
with
to
the pizza?
Crossroads, which is a vegan place. We tried to go to Lucifer's, but we walked in. There was like heavy metal music playing, and the sign said no bathrooms. And I was like, we're leaving. So I called another Uber, and we went to Crossroads, which is a vegan place. We saw Billy Corgan from Smashing
cool.
Pumpkins. He was there. He's a famous
Nice.
vegan. It was bumping up in that place. We sat at the bar, which I love sitting at the bar in a restaurant because Chris does not like to sit on the same side of the table as me when we're dining together.
That's normal.
And I like being like cuddly and like, oh, what are you eating? And like being a couple. But at the bar, you're forced to sit next to me. And we ate a pepperoni pizza, which is so delicious. And I got some, it was just really delicious food. And then we went home and we watched Love is Blind, the new season, which is fantastic. Oh my God,
What?
Anya, you
I
gotta
did
get
not
onto
know.
it. Yeah, do you watch Love is Blind?
Yes.
You should watch this new season. You guys, we got to talk about it because some besties wrote me saying
Update
we
on
should
The
talk to it.
Bachelor. It's over if you want to know what happened.
Okay.
Do you?
I mean, sure.
He picked the girl I said he was going to pick.
He picked the
The
girl
one
he
he
didn't
did
sleep
not
with.
Yeah, Katie.
Classic.
Jesus. Classic. I mean, of course.
Bro.
Speaking of Bachelor, sitting next to me at the iHeart Awards last night was this girl, and she was like, I'm a huge fan. I know Bill Dixon. I know Elon, which are two Bachelor guys, but they're my guys from
F-Boy Island?
Hold on one second. They're guys from F-Boy Island. They also created that. So I saw last night Kaylin from The Bachelor Colton season, who is now engaged to Dean, and they met on Bachelor in Paradise. Do you know who that is?
Oh, yeah.
Anya?
Yes,
Kaylin?
I do. I know them. They've been together a long time. They live in a van.
She is adorable. They're not living in Vegas, but she is so sweet, and she looked like Reese Witherspoon, and they're now
I
engaged.
can see that.
And she was really nice. And I just want to say there is a clip of me, though, applauding Taylor Swift at the awards when she got her award. And Chris was laughing so hard because I could not. I was trying to behave myself in every other way. I can't squash my inner Swiftie. Because Phoebe Bridgers was also there, who is like one of my favorite musicians ever. And she's presenting to Taylor. And I couldn't help but go like, "We love you! I love you!" Like screaming like that
They cut
obnoxious
to you.
person. I know they did.
Yeah.
And I
It
got a
looked
lot
really
of
cute.
Swifties writing to me saying, "Thank you for representing the level of enthusiasm that our girl, our blondie deserved, because you brought it. You weren't too cool. You were like jumping up and down. So thank you for that acknowledgement." And of course I brought that. And I will not disturb our girl. I will keep her safe. I just kept, Chris had a video of me just going like, "You stay away from her. You keep away from her." I would just see people like lurking towards her and I go, "Get away from her. She needs to be protected." I want to be like on her security team and I will not talk to you, Taylor. I just want to protect you. Anyway, it was a great night. And Brian, thank you for coming by. We'll
Yes.
see you tomorrow on the podcast too. You'll come by?
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's
Can you?
tomorrow?
Yeah.
What time?
We'll see.
Okay.
Hopefully I don't sound craggly with my fucking voice. Oh, one last thing. I just got asked, my producer from my reality show is now producing a reality show with Paris Hilton. And she's like, "Hey, we're shopping today. Do you want to be on the show and come by Saks and like hang out with Taylor?" And I don't really
Paris?
feel like it. Or yeah, sorry.
Paris or Taylor?
Paris. Equally as impressive. I don't feel like it. Is this me being Ian right now and scared?
Yes. 100%.
Yes.
I
What are
have
you
to
going
go
to do
do it?
instead?
Rest. I
Unless
have a
you're
cough.
just being-
I have a cold. I have to
I-
switch hotels. I have to like put on makeup and
Brian's
pick out a
slowly
cute
backing
outfit.
away.
What you just said goes against everything you've been saying for the last
damn it.
hour.
So I gotta go. I gotta do it.
And how long is it going to be anyway?
Probably
I'm
pretty
so
short.
lucky.
Yeah,
Just
I
keep
am so
saying
lucky
that.
and all works out. So maybe if I don't go, I'm still lucky and it will all work out because I kind of just want a little break today. And I don't feel like going to, I don't know how to dress for shopping at Saks
it's going to be tough.
and I'm telling you, being on camera with Paris Hilton is not fun. You just look real rough.
Because next to her, you're like, she's like pristine.
And she's had hair and makeup done today.
If they said you can have her glam team, just come, we'll help you get ready. It'll be fun.
No, and then I don't want to get ready because that takes too long. So they
Okay.
can't get me either way. But I think I might do it. We'll see. We'll find out tomorrow on the show if I do it. And I know you're like, I can't believe you're turning down a
You
chance
guys were
to be
so
on.
funny together on Cooking with Paris. I think it's going to be great.
Okay, maybe I should do
You
it.
can
Think about
sleep when
how
you're
you'll
dead.
feel the moment it's done.
Whoa.
Yes,
Brian.
that's good. 7
Okay.
secrets of successful people. That's one
I
of
will
them.
feel
You think about the end.
tired and like I might have just given Taylor or Paris COVID. I don't have COVID. I got tested, but I do have something crackling in my throat. All right, guys, we got to go. Thank you for listening to the podcast. We'll see you tomorrow on the show. Don't be cuh and just go film that scene with Paris. Come on. What are you gonna do instead? Sleep? Yeah, probably. Well, that's a good thing too. So either way, it's gonna work out for you. You're very lucky.